The Calgary Stampede attracts over 1 million visitors every year and features one of the largest rodeos in the world. And I got to work there. How, you ask? Well, let's start from the beginning. I started job hunting about a month into my summer. I applied to every job you could think of. Accounting assistant, personal shopper, landscape laborer. I used every site you could think of. Indeed, Glassdoors, ZipRecruiter. And out of probably the thousands of jobs I applied to, I can count the number that go back to me on one hand. And even those guys rejected me because I lacked experience. Weeks and weeks of constant rejection and countless unanswered emails left me hopeless. No one wanted me. But just when I was about to throw in the towel, they got back to me. The Calgary Stampede. I was joyous, I was excited, I was thrilled. Finally, someone wanted me. And what was the job, you ask? Well, I was a janitor. I know, never settle for less and all that. But then I remembered the saying, your first job is always the best. But, no, sorry. Your first job is always the worst. But it gets better. Yeah. In this video, I'm going to talk you through my experience working there. Some of the days were really uneventful for me, so we'll only be focusing on the interesting days. Join me as we discover what it's like to work at the greatest outdoor show on earth. Well, technically I should be joining you because, I've already worked there and you're kind of... Before Stampede actually starts, there's what you call a sneak peek day, which is basically a day when entry is free. Anyone can enter the grounds just so people can get a feel of what to expect for the next 10 days. As you can probably expect, a lot of people came that day. Everyone wanted to see if it's worth coming for. Now, I already knew where I was going to be stationed, so I scanned in and made my way over to the Skyride washrooms, which, if you didn't know, is directly beside the cook stage. A pretty big deal. Everybody who was a body was going to be performing on that stage. Ira Star, Noah Cyrus, Ira Star. So in my mind, I was already thinking how I had front row seats to the whole thing. Silly me. The worst was yet to come. Each day we'll be doing a highlight reel of some of the interesting things that happened that day, just to keep track. Some of the highlights of today: Ian Dior performed. It's been a while since I've listened to his music, so it was a good refresher. He also played some unreleased music, which, is music that isn't out yet.
He's so cool.
Is he the guy with the 10-pack abs?
Yup. I wanna know that guy.
Have my baby. 3 men were sword fighting today, and no, I don't have pictures. We met a disabled guy who gave us love advice, and he basically said being gay is better than being lonely, which I don't really. A homeless guy tried to kick me out of the train on my way back home. The first day was crazy. So many people came and the streets were filled with all the rides and all the food trucks fully functioning. Now, there were many cuisines that were made available, some of which we'll get into later on in the video, but the only thing I had my eye on were those mini donuts, specifically the ones in the booth beside my station. I don't know if it's a Calgary thing or if it's a Stampede thing, but everywhere you turn, they would turn the mini donut truck, and I won't lie, they had me hooked. I did some recon the day before and found out you could get a bag of 18 for $10. An absolute steal. Today, I was ready. I had a $20 bill, so I buy a bag, collect change, and eat that for my lunch. Those criminals. Within the span of 24 hours, they increased their price by not one, not two, but $4. $4. I was heartbroken, devastated, some might even say. So I left, hoping that demand will eventually fall and the price will return to what it was. After I came to terms with the diabolical nature of our capitalist society, I settled for my packed lunch. I finished eating, then returned to my station to find a massive crowd of people fawning over someone called Dane Lewis, a very popular guy apparently. Now, the issue is when you combine his popularity with drunk Canadians, you get traffic. And not just any kind of traffic, butt clenching traffic. Have you ever been in traffic and then you're swerving, you're making moves that have your butt clenched? Yeah. That's butt clenching traffic. If there's one thing I've learned from the whole Stampede experience, is that you should never underestimate artists you've never heard of, because this guy brought one of the biggest crowds I've ever seen. Not the biggest of all Stampede, but still very big. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of today, shall we? Someone got high and fainted in the bathroom. This guy walked into the bathroom and fell asleep in a store. One of my co-workers woke him up and escorted him outside. He goes outside and he's swerving and swerving before eventually he collapses. He's fine, but at the time we found 2 phones and a purse in the toilet. It was more like a bag actually. So it was a bag and 2 iPhone 11s. We suspect foul play was involved. There was a motorcycle performance. They were doing flips and all that, like backflipping, all that spinning stuff, but I came at the end, so I missed it. Those absolute monsters. It's crazy. It's the second day, and to do something like what they did and not say anything about it, it baffles me. They actually increased the price of the donuts. I get to work, I tap in, and the first place I go to is that donut place because I'm looking forward to seeing that price drop, only for me to see $15. $1 increase. $1 increase. What does that even do for you? I saw that and then I just went to the bathroom. I just let myself feel, The clutches of capitalism eventually released their grip on my heart, and I made my way to Skyride to start work that day. Logic was supposed to be coming at about 9, so around 8:30 people were flooding in. We have just a normal male bathroom setup. One half is for the urinals, one half is for the stalls. So many people were coming in, so there was a long ass line for the bathroom. In spite of this, 3 guys locked themselves in one stall and they clogged up the line. Now, the nature of my job demanded that I do something about this, but I won't lie, I was scared. How was I going to tell 3 grown-ass men that they couldn't pee together? They couldn't synchronize their wee. Eventually, I mustered up the courage and banged on the store. I was expecting resistance of any sort, maybe even some yelling. Before I could say bum, these guys yanked me into the store. Then they asked me to whip out my badoinka-doink, my tallywaka, my schmeckle. I was stunned. I didn't know what to do. I just kept saying, I'm not whipping out my badoinki. I'm not whipping out my badoinki. These guys were not listening to me. Eventually, to the glory of God, someone opened the store and convinced those 3 guys to leave. I've been expecting something like that to happen, but not so soon. Despite that, me and my co-workers were able to handle the traffic pretty well. The concert itself was pretty amazing. Logic had some great visuals for its performance, and it was a great show in general. Every day up until the 3rd day, I had always brought food from home because Stampede food is crazy expensive. But today I decided, let me treat myself because, after all that happened in the past 2 days, I deserve something nice, no? So I went out, I searched until I stumbled across this noodle shop. I waited a while just to see what I was getting myself into, and I won't lie, it looked bussin'. For $16, you could get about 4 different flavors, and out of the 4, the sweet chili was speaking to me. Almost like it was calling me. It was like, boy, pick me. Boy. The lady at the checkout was very nice, recommending me different flavors and all that. She took my order and gave me a ticket to wait. I stood directly in front of the truck, so I could see how busy the guys inside were, and that even got me more excited to try the stuff. They gave me my order and I walked back to my lunchroom to try it, and I must say, the food, it was tremendously made. The noodles were so thin, and then not even all the noodles were coated in the sweet chili sauce thing, so occasionally I would just bite chunks of white noodle stacks. After 5 bites, the $16 didn't feel worth it anymore. It was too late now anyway. I ate half, then I saved the other half for tomorrow, then I went back to my joint. The main event of today was supposed to be a band called Billy Talent, and their music was not bad. My favorite song was I Beg to Differ. I just put you on. It was at this point where I was starting to get rumors that, Ira Star wasn't going to be coming anymore, but I didn't pay them any heed. Day 4 was pretty chill. At this point, it was getting quite hot in Calgary. Temperatures were in the low 30s. I used one of my breaks to walk around the grounds just to see what I was missing out on by being in one place all day. I got to see the rides, more food trucks, more events and all that. I didn't bring lunch again today, and I wasn't feeling the noodles, So I decided to try out a restaurant called the AG Grill at the Agricultural Center. I found out that employees get a discount and I had to take advantage of that. I went for the timeless burger and the chicken finger and fries. The burgers were delicious. And you know what they say, a good heart is for good burgers. Actually, that sounds very counterintuitive. I go back to Skyride just before Paul Russell was about to perform, and watching his set was crazy to me. When did his song blow up on TikTok? Wasn't that like early this year? And now he's being called to perform at places like this? Crazy. A few minutes after his set was over, I found out some terrible news. The whole reason I took this job, my purpose, Ira Star, wasn't coming anymore. I would have quit right then and there, but one thing was stopping me. The bread.
Just give me the shmoney.
We guys get that bread.
Just give me that money.
Because Mr. wasn't coming anymore, Jessie Murph had more time for her performance, which, to be fair, she gathered quite a crowd for. I wasn't a big fan of her music, but she was alright. She finished her performance and I saw a very chill looking old guy. Day 7 is the last day we'll be talking about, and by far the craziest day I had. Why? Because Bryson Tiller was supposed to come today, so I already knew I was in poop. There was a video or a bunch of videos that went viral on TikTok that showed just how many people came for his concert. To think where there were some points where I was in that crowd trying to navigate, it's crazy. Some of my friends that went for the concert were able to get some clips of his performance. I don't really listen to much Bryson Tiller, but one thing I will say is that the visuals, like the stuff he did with the lights for his performance, was very cool. And apparently his daughter came on stage and sang something, and she's like 10, so that was very wholesome. Now, while everyone was vibing and having such a good time outside, it was a war zone in those bathrooms. People just kept going in and out, and for some reason this guy's concert lasted like twice as long as it should have, so we felt like we were going to be in there forever. We finished going over everything, like the counters and the mirrors, and so I leave for my break. I come back and there's a woman on the ground and she's out of it. She's mumbling some stuff, and her food from this morning and probably some alcohol is just splattered all over the ground. Apparently she just waltzed in and fell down. Her younger brother is there, he's pacing, trying to call her mom or her brother, I think. Luckily enough, there was a random guy in the bathroom who was like a medical professional of some sort, and he was taking care of her until the paramedics arrived. The whole thing was really scary. Taking into account the cumulous amounts of people outside, nobody was saying a word. Guys came in to use the bathroom, did their stuff, and walked right back out. Everyone apart from Dave. Dave walks in, sees all this, and decides to start recording. Oh, Dave. It doesn't even last a minute. Everyone starts flaming this guy. The paramedics, the random guy that was helping, the little brother, even the little brother starts insulting this guy. I feel sorry for the guy, but you know, him too, he should have known. Like, luckily the woman ended up being fine. They got her a wheelchair and they led her out of the bathrooms. Don't drink a lot. All in all, working at the Calgary Stampede definitely had its ups and downs, but I couldn't have asked for a better first job experience in Canada. If you ever get a job here, you should definitely take it, and alongside performing your duties, make sure you take in the scenery and enjoy some of the things that Stampede has to offer. I feel like I did my best, but I really wish I got more footage of some of the events and the experiences that I had. If you've ever worked here, let me know where you worked and some of your craziest experiences. If you haven't worked here, what was your first job like? I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, this is just the beginning. More videos on the way. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and boys.